What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tasty Tuesday on Tasty Loot Gaming, the show where we talk about gaming news. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And a quick reminder, this week, play Strike Vector X and Infamous Second Son, both offer free on PlayStation Plus. Play those, come back this Friday. We'll be doing Plus Club. We'll be talking about our impressions of those games. Let us know yours. And then next week for Tasty Cast, we'll be talking about our game of the month, Sanctum 2, which we need to play together. I've actually played it, and yeah, we'll talk about that next week. But if you have that game, or if you're interested in playing it, play it, come back, and have a conversation with us about it. But yeah, with that, let's get into the news.
Recently, the developers over at Overwatch have stated that they're going to slow down updates to battle toxicity in the community, and they've apparently already begun to take steps towards that. If you are playing on Xbox One and you are voted as a... what's the word they use on Xbox?
Avoid me
profile, you will have your in-game voice chat disabled. You'll still be able to play with everyone, but you won't be able to talk to them anymore. What do you guys think about their approach to this?
Xbox?
Only on Xbox.
Oh, okay. It says Blizzard didn't say if it's employing a similar approach on PS4, which I'm going to assume they're probably going to try and do this on everything.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because obviously they've been kind of making a thing of it, saying that they're trying to work on the community, which is admirable. But at the same time, I don't know if there's much you can do about how people are online. Not having a face online gives people kind of a green light in their head to just do and say whatever the hell they want. And I think it feels right to do that. But as for silencing or whatever. If you can get the avoid me thing off, I mean, I assume you can if you play by the rules for long enough. Mm-hmm. It seems fine, but at the same time, I don't think it's gonna make it. The only difference it's gonna make is they can't talk to you and you're gonna hear them, but you can mute them. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a wasted endeavor on Blizzard's part.
Don't think you can mute people in game.
But you can't mute people on X. Well, I guess it's per game, so you can't mute people in that game?
Mm-mm.
That's weird. Then why the fuck wouldn't they have that?
Either you mute everybody or nobody.
That's bizarre. That's weird.
If I recall right.
I mean, if that's the case, I guess, and they don't allow you to mute people individually, which is really fucking weird. I guess they have to.
I know you
implement
can't
something
mute
like
people
this.
individually. I know you can't do that. I know that for sure.
That's so weird.
But I can't remember if it's either just all the sound goes off or it's just like voice chat for everybody goes off.
You guys talk about it because I'm like the least. I play Overwatch the least here, so I mean, it's just. I think it's a weird thing to be putting so much emphasis into. I play fucking Call of Duty quite a bit, and everyone on there has fucked my mom and thinks I'm a fag. So, I'm just used to people talking shit, and if I don't like them enough, I fucking hit mute. So, it's weird to me to think somebody in Call of Duty would be muting them for me.
I mean, Overwatch aside, I think you pretty much said what they probably should have thought of in the first place, which is allowing players to mute other players.
Yeah.
If that's not the case, because I don't know that well. You're saying you can't implement that instead. Like that seems like a kind of a no-brainer to me.
It seems like a parent who doesn't allow you to learn from your mistakes or whatever, and it's just kind of constantly going like, well, you need to be careful when you go outside. It's just weird to me.
I think the reason why they don't, I think I looked it up once, and I think the reason why they don't allow that is they're trying to promote cooperation within your team. Mm-hmm. They really want you guys to voice communicate with each other, to lay out plans, to figure out what you're going to do, and to prevent basically just muting everybody and doing your own thing. They want to promote you to be able to cooperate with each other and communicate with each other. But if people are being toxic, it really destroys a team.
Yeah, but you can't. Okay, so you can't control what people are going to say, though. So
Sure.
The best, I think, defense to that, or even offense to that, is being able to mute people individually. I think this, it almost seems like overly complicated of a process.
Yeah.
And not that great of a punishment,
Well,
to be honest.
here's the
they
thing,
can still
too.
be a dick in game without being able to communicate.
Yeah, they control you in
Sure.
game. They can send you messages if they really want to fuck with you.
Well, there is an option in game to stop communicate, like chat functions, like inbox chat functions. I've blocked several people from that.
You're playing on PC, though. On
I am.
Xbox, you can literally just go to their gamer tag and start sending them messages, though.
Yeah. The only thing is this seems like an overstep on a step they should have already taken. It feels like they should have started, and I get where you're coming from. And if anything, it's kind of an interesting experiment because people aren't doing that. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's interesting to see what will come of that because I get they want people to play together, but there's other games that also encourage it in ways that aren't. So like you either have to talk to everybody or none at all, which is I think is really fucking weird. And then them deciding, like, well, people, we don't know if they're right or wrong, but people say this person's bad, so they're gonna shut the fuck up. It seems like really authoritarian almost, and like not to sound too fucking Orwellian about it, but like somebody could have like one day where they're deciding to be a dickhead, and that day, whatever. The next day, maybe they are a really good player that plays with the team, but that one day they decide to be an asshole. And sure, they are a dickhead asshole, but at the same time, I don't know if they need to be silenced forever or if, until that period ends. For that one day, they're being a troll. Like,
I don't think
know.
one day of doing that kind of trolling behavior is going to get you.
But if enough people vote for you to be like, even if people didn't like you, they think you're hacking.
That's
which happens all the time in FPS. Is like you get enough votes in a couple days or whatever because you're too good at the game, and now you can't talk to people. I mean, like it's there's too many ways that can be abused, but also just misinterpreted.
Right.
Oh, so you could literally have let's say you play with a big clan even, and you decide, you yourself decide that this person is, not even like a bad player, but you just something that rubs you the wrong way about him, and you have all your fucking buddies all of a sudden go to their profile and go, this person, downvote.
Right.
And now that person is being punished, and they may have actually not been doing anything. So I don't think it's a good system. I think they're taking a really
I think there's
weird
better ways
approach.
to do it.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from completely. I'm not saying they're stupid or whatever, but I think it's a really weird way to do it. And I'm also kind of worried too, and not to get too political, but it seems like Blizzard is such a big company now, and they want Overwatch to succeed, which it already has, but they want people to keep playing it. And it lives in such a PC culture that I feel like they're being a little too aggressive on that. Because even here it says that this Kaplan dude said the level toxicity in Overwatch is so extreme that they have to stop their development to work on it. And he wants players to look inward and maybe hold their tongue, which is never going to happen. Video games have been going on for a long time. Multiplayer's been going on for a long time. It's about the same as it ever has been. I don't think it's ever going to change because that's a societal problem. It's not something that I think they're going to be able to stop with this system. This is just them essentially trying to force people to not be shitty.
It does remind me though of their GG Easy solution, because if you type in GG Easy, then the system recognizes that command and alters your text for you. It says, "Hey mommy, can I please stay up a little longer? I want to play some more," or weird text things like that. And I have seen far less of those command or those automated text messages than I have in the beginning of the game.
See, that's an interesting thing too, because I'm weird because even in games where someone types and if it's a kid's game, it's different because I get, some kids don't need to be reading certain shit, but even when you censor fuck or shit or blah blah blah, it kind of bothers me. If there's a way to turn it off, I want to, just because censorship's, I'm not a fan of it in any way. But for them to kind of force this community aspect by even doing that in a way, I think it's kind of cool because it's stupid for people to go GG easy or whatever, and it becomes, I guess, to them toxic because they want to have a fun environment. But you can't force that. It's the same thing with Nintendo for a long time not allowing voice chat in their multiplayer games because they want people talking to each other because they want people to be nice. Well, it sucks because people want to talk to each other. It's a huge, really important component to cooperative or even just multiplayer gaming in general. So and they've added it because people want it. So them almost censoring people like that, people are going to find other ways to just be dickheads and not say GG easy.
Sure.
I know they're trying to nip that in the bud. Stop being so competitive. Have fun with it. Blah 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 blah.
Because I get if you're trying to be competitive in competitive mode, but in the free for all or the random heroes, it's just for fun. It literally is just for fun.
Sure. I mean, you run into the same problem in a lot of games, though. I mean, even I remember hearing stories from people who were trying to get into League of Legends, for example, and they go into the newbie mode, and there's people in there just chewing them the fuck out for being bad players, even though they've never played the game before. You know,
That happened with me in Dota too. I loaded it up for the first time ever. I picked a character, I had no idea what I was doing, and immediately
Same thing with
was
me.
just screamed at, like literally over a voice intercom. I never touched the game again. Day one, I stopped.
I was trying out Dota 2 for the first time ever, and I was in the beginners training area.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't go on the right lane, and I had two people freak out on me, and I'm like, I literally typed to him, I'm like, dude, you're in the wrong area if you're gonna bitch at someone learning to play the game.
Yeah.
Go play somewhere else. I'm in the right spot. So in the same way, like, it is a deterrent for you to want to play it. For me, I'm a little more aggressive in some ways, so I'm like, fuck you. But
yeah, I'm just gonna play how I want.
yeah, but I don't, and it does suck for people who don't want to do what I do in that sense and don't want to get combative with people. But at the same time, I think it's really weird for the company to try and get in there and enforce it. There are ways to maybe deter it or whatever. Maybe if you've been playing in the training area for too long, you can't access it anymore. There's been free-to-play FPSs that did that back in the day that I played. So, if these assholes are just playing in there and then bitching at people, maybe after a while they can't play there anymore. So now they can't bitch at new players. There's a bunch of small things. It's just at the point where, like, I don't know, the enforcement of certain things to create an atmosphere that's actually not there. It's kind of like North Korea. It's just extreme, but North Korea, like having the fake places for tourists to show up to pretend like everything's good.
Sure.
It reminds me of that in a lighter sense, of course. But I'm mixed on it. I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I get what they want, and in a perfect world, it'd be great. But I also kind of like people being dicks because I'm also a dick. So
It ruins the game for me every
yeah,
time.
and that makes sense because you guys aren't like competitive players. I'm a very competitive person, so like when people start talking shit, I'm also like, yeah, fuck you, blah blah blah. Not to the point where I'm like GG easy. I think it's lazy and boring and dumb. Yeah. But and that is kind of a shitty community aspect where people just get so just like, oh, we won, I better type that out. Like fucking, let's all do it. Like that's just lazy and boring. But
I think their best option, and actually a better solution, would be besides obviously being able to mute people at your choice, put an option in that says, I don't want to be matched up with this player again.
See, they had that the first time Overwatch launched for PC, and people kept doing it, and they took it away eventually because it got to the point where no one was playing against anybody of equal or higher skill level. And I can see that happening with this. I totally see that, but it's such a double-edged sword in my eye. It's like hard to argue for one way or the other.
for me, like that's really good. They need to let you be able to mute people individually. I get where they're coming from, but like that's such a standard that has just worked for so long in FPSs. Like I play any Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever, and there's some guy and he's got his music just blaring because he's trying to be cool.
Ugh.
Mute. I don't gotta listen to that ever again, and it stays muted. I'll go into rooms and there's a guy muted already. I'm like, oh, I've met you before. And then go a step further, like be able to like right click on a dude or on Xbox, fucking click on a person, a player across the board for Xbox Live and say, I don't like this guy, I don't want to play with him again. And have an algorithm that tries to avoid ever seeing that guy again. I've played games that have had that. I just think there's better ways to do it that you can have your own control over it because the experience is different. Like I'm not going to tell you, deal with it. But for me, I would deal with it, and I don't expect you to do it, but at the same time, like I said in the very beginning of this whole thing, which we're talking about way more than I thought we were gonna, which is great. I don't like the idea that somebody could be put in that situation where they are muted and not have earned that really.
Like, put the tools in the player's hand to decide who they want to play with and who they don't want to play with, and who they want to listen to and who they don't want to listen to. Don't put it in your hands to start policing too much because like you said, it starts becoming a censorship tactic instead of just like what you said. Like I don't play first-person shooters very often. The few times I have, if I don't want to talk to people, I just get in party chat, even if I'm not playing with someone, because then it mutes all the chat, and it doesn't matter how much shit they're talking, how much they hate the way I'm playing. I can't hear it. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is like I've noticed in this last generation we're in right now, that more people are playing in party chat than ever before. I remember the 360 days and I missed them because I actually liked the banter and shit. But you get into a room and everybody's just talking, just felt alive. Now you get in a room and there's like one person with a mic and there's every once in a while they're like, and you just hear that and you're like, Man, I miss where everybody's just like, fuck you, fuck it, but that was awesome.
No.
I mean, I got into a room last night or the night before with Josh. We were playing Black Ops 3, and there was 4 people were playing together, and they weren't in a party chat. It was really weird. And they're all talking whatever, and most of them were nice. One guy was kind of a dickhead, but they were playing against them, and they ended up winning, which is fine. I don't mind losing. I like to win though. And I remember at one point their best player, I kept running into him and I was killing him just fine. And he was running on a wall. And in Call of Duty, when you kill somebody, you hear like the last you hear like 5 seconds of their audio. So most of the time when they're like "fuck," you hear that, and it feels good. But the guy like jumped on a wall, jumped on another wall, and I could tell he was just like trying to like outmaneuver me. I just like looked up and went boom and shot him in the head and just dropped him. And he died. He's like fucking trash. And like when we got back to the lobby, I was like, hey Josh. He's like, what? I'm like, you know that guy up there? And I said his name wrong, but I said it close enough. He's like, yeah. I'm like, that guy fucking, he's like running at me, jumping all over the place, like trying to fucking get me. I shot him in the head. It was really fucking easy. He called me trash. And fucking Josh's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, he called me trash because I killed him fucking easily. Like, I love doing that shit. I love talking shit. But, and he stayed silent for some reason after that, so. But yeah, that stuff doesn't bother me too much.
Can't everybody just get along?
No.
That is me getting along. It's fun. It's fun as long as people aren't being ridiculous. Yeah, even when people say like the blatant, like like I said, like I fucked your mom. It's been said so many times now that it doesn't have meaning anymore. So it's just like when you hear them like, you must be fucking 12 years old. But yeah, can we all agree that there might be a better way to do this?
Yeah,
I think there are definitely, even if you want to get creative and try something else, there's that. I just think this is, and I've already said it. It's a really bad approach, I think. So,
and I get where you're coming from for sure, though, and I'm glad actually that you kind of talked about your own experience and how it does deter you, because this is stuff that assholes don't really think about. They want this game. They like it, but at the same time, if more people were like you than not, the community would suffer and die from it, and fucking then they don't have a game to play with people. So there's negative consequences too. You just got to kind of find like a way to get into the zeitgeist of the community of the game and get them all to just have fucking fun with it.
Yeah, just have fun. It's a fucking game.
But if someone's like, you fucking suck, bitch, be like, you suck too, and just move on with your life. Or mute him. Fuck off. I don't want to hear you, dumbass. And things.
No, that was a long topic, actually. That's crazy.
That should have been the last topic. I put that in the beginning because I'm like, we're like, whatever. But after we got into it, I'm like, there's some deeper things going here. Yeah, so second bit of news. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is in the news again after they kind of got the record of most concurrent players. And yeah, it's awesome. But recently, Fortnite, free-to-play tower defense cooperative game, a game I've been playing quite a bit, has released a PvP mode that is very, very much like PUBG. They've noticed this, and they respectfully are finding problems with that. In quotes, some dude from the company said, we've had an ongoing relationship with Epic Games throughout PUBG's development, as they are creators of UE4, Unreal Engine 4. The engine was licensed for the game. After listening to growing feedback from our community and reviewing the gameplay for ourselves, we're concerned that Fortnite may be replicating the experience for which PUBG is known. He also said that PUBG developers have no relationship to Fortnite's development, as concerns around user interface, UI, gameplay, and structural replication in the Battle Royale mode exists. And yeah, so they've also hinted, but did not say directly, that they might be looking at legal actions. For anybody who doesn't know, PUBG is a game where you get dropped in to an island, and you essentially run around looking for weapons and items and try and survive 100 or 99 other people as the island shrinks up. So it's kind of an incentive for you to keep moving in and moving around. Really popular. People love it. Fortnite, like I said, the PvP mode pretty much does the exact same thing, aside from you can build and break things, which Fortnite offers. I've played both. I think they're both really fun. And I'll throw it to you guys first. What do you guys think?
I have nothing but respect for these guys, and I've actually been cheering them on, even though I don't like playing these type of games, because the small guy became, we've talked about a bunch of times. They're fucking the top on Steam now. They're
Huge
top on Twitch now.
benchmark.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Get off your fucking high horse, man. You weren't the first one to make this genre. You won't be the last. Instead of bitching and moaning that someone else is, very closely using your same ideas, evolve, get better, use it as an opportunity to show them why you're on top, instead of going, essentially what most of these big corporations do now these days, which is, I don't want competition, I'm gonna sue your ass. This is really annoying, and I hate to hear it, because I really was, and like I root for these guys, and I still do. It's great, but the change of attitude, or not even change of attitude, but the attitude they're putting towards this, I think is completely the wrong fucking direction. So,
Yeah, one thing to add to that too, what you said, is just competition spawns innovation.
Yep.
Always. I get that they have a product that's selling great, and they want to protect that, but they have to realize that they weren't the first guys to do this, and they got this idea from somebody else. Fortnite does. I've played it. It is very much like PUBG, but I also played the mod that came out for Arma 2 a long time ago. That was this exact same game mode, and then I also played H1Z1 before PUBG existed. So I have a long history of playing these battle royale / Hunger Game type game modes. So I get they want to protect their assets, especially with their success right now, and they're fucking killing it. But one thing that I thought was really interesting that IGN said was that they're essentially advertising Fortnite right now. They're telling everybody about it. They're saying, hey, this game exists. It's just like our game, and it's free.
And has a different game. Well, I actually think they're going to be separating them at launch, but right now you get both games. You get a single or a co-op game and a versus game.
Yeah. So IGN was essentially saying that they're like, I don't know why they're talking about this. This is such a bad PR move, because they're literally nobody was talking about Fortnite's PvP mode until now.
Yep.
Now they are. So what are you doing? Which I thought was a really fair point, because they're not even saying who's right or wrong. They're saying, what the fuck are you doing? That's not smart at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So they said they should have done this internally, and that would make way more
Instead
sense.
of publicly?
Now they're telling everybody, hey, this game's all like our game. Our game's awesome, and we're worried about that game, and that one's free. And it's on PS4. We're not on PS4. So it's a really weird situation. I do appreciate that they're very respectful. They didn't talk shit. They said they were concerned. That's fine. But at the same time, they have to understand where they come from as a game. This has existed already. This is not an original idea. Like I've said before, the reason the game's popular, they nailed it. They took a thing that already existed and they fucking streamlined it and made it work. And it doesn't waste your time. When you're dead, you're fucking out. You're going back in already. And that's awesome. But now what they have to do, because there is somebody else doing it also, they got to make the game better. That's how it works.
It's completely asinine. It's like if Capcom was trying to sue Midway because Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter are both fighting games.
Yep.
You can punch people in
This is
a
right.
2D perspective.
They punch and kick people, and some of them have special moves, or they shoot fireballs.
Yeah.
It's dumb. This is the dumbest. Don't do it. Here's my advice. Don't do it. Do what everybody else has said and make your game better and unique and stand out from it.
Look,
It should sue fucking Bungie and Infinity Ward, because there's from a first person's perspective you shoot things.
Oh, yeah.
I think Mortal Kombat's a great example, actually, because Mortal Kombat came out as a fighting game, a Western take on the Japanese fighting game, right? And then
Oh, definitely.
it started to evolve, and then it went in this fucking weird direction. And then they were like, we have to be better. They didn't go sue Japanese companies. They made a better fucking Mortal Kombat. And Mortal Kombat now is amazing.
One of the best fighting games out there.
So,
Yeah, and they went through a slump too, where they weren't making good games.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had to do something.
Mortal
and they
Kombat
did.
9.
they had to evolve.
There's some really, really bad ones out there. The more chunkier the characters got, the worse they got.
Sub-Zero's Legacy.
Yeah.
That one was a weird one.
The platformer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Platformer with, fighting, Mortal Kombat fighting
Yeah.
in it. It was weird.
Yeah, so this is just, it gives me a fucking headache. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really don't think they have a case, and I really don't think they're gonna.
No.
I don't think they're gonna press charges because not in their best interest. Makes them look bad. I don't think they could win. And these are the guys who own the engine that their game's made off of. So I mean, that's really bad business.
Yeah, bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah, and I mean, to a certain degree, it is interesting that Fortnite was just like, let's take that mode exactly, but it's just another thing added on a game that already is something else. I mean, like it just makes sense.
And it's how business works. You see someone else succeeding at something, you're like, oh, I take that too.
Yeah.
And a little piece of that cookie as well.
And it's super shameless. So I'm glad they're not even like this is a fully original mode. They actually even another thing that I forgot to read on here is the guy, the VP of Bluehole, whatever it's called, was saying that they actually mention Fortnite's advertising actually mentions that it's like PUBG.
Yeah.
So he doesn't like that, and I get why he wouldn't like that. But I mean, it's better than you guys pretending like you made this genre.
When you're explaining role playing games to people, though, as an example, a good example is like, when a front mission, right? You're trying to explain front mission to people. You're like, well, it's kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics, right? Now it's the same company, it's a little different, but at the same time, you're still saying this game is like this game.
Final Fantasy Tactics is like older games like Shining Force
Or Tactics Ogre or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
And the big picture is too, like, if people who own Fortnite play this PvP mode and enjoy it and want to play more of it or find something similar to it, then they know now that PUBG is just like that, and that could generate more revenue for you. I don't understand.
And on a personal note, outside of the politics of this, like I said, I played the PvP, and I think it's really good. Being able to create buildings, all stuff like that, adds a whole new dimension to the whole experience. And be able to break things down to get resources in that same, we got to move, got to get to the center, map shrinking. It's really cool. And there's already a shitload of weapons in Fortnite. So, I mean, like, at first, it's like, why are they doing this outside of the money? But then I played it and I was like, it's fun. It's really fucking fun. So it's like PUBG, except for there's creation in it. You can build. It's a really cool way to have whole new tactics. I went to the third floor of a building, destroyed the staircase, and just hung out up there for a while and sniped dudes until the place started shrinking. You can't do that in PUBG. You also can lay down in PUBG. You can't lay down in Fortnite. I wish you could. But
here's another way for them to look at it too, though, right? So they're like the fucking the top dog in this genre at this point. I mean, look at League of Legends, right? Top dog in that genre, and look how many fucking MOBAs there are.
Oh god,
right?
yeah.
And they all have their player base. They're all succeeding, but League is still there,
exactly.
right?
And there's
You can
MOBAs before.
still be there, and you can still be, keeping being the essentially the leader of a genre by, as I'm going to repeat myself, continuously evolving, blah, 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 inspiring other people. And yeah, eventually someone's going to come and make a product like that, but you just ride it out as long as you can. I mean, your game's not going to last forever anyway. No one's game does. So.
Well, they made something that sold really well. Now it's a wake-up call. You got competition now because somebody saw what you made.
You're in the fucking spotlight.
The money that you're making, people are going to want that piece of pie. That happens with all games that blow up. DayZ, everyone started making survival games.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't like, what the fuck?
World of Warcraft blew up, and
Look at all the
MMOs went
MMOs that are
crazy after that. Yeah, for sure.
Final Fantasy 14, I love it to death. They literally were like, we're going to do what works.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, Fortnite's just the first of many to come that's going to keep PUBG in check, and it's the ball's in their court to see how they evolve with that. I mean, if someone makes a better game than them and they don't keep up with it, that's their fault. So you can't just be on your own with the great idea that you didn't create. But yeah, PUBG is awesome. So I'm not even trying to talk shit about it. Just saying.
welcome to the world of business.
Yeah, it's not gonna work out in that favor. So just make your game better. Chevy, third bit news.
Square recently was talking with its shareholders and has confirmed what a lot of people were kind of suspecting of them anyways, which is they're focusing on treating games as services. They are quoted saying, "Gone are the days in which single-player games were a primary status and multiplayer games secondary. Lately, multiplayer games have taken the lead, and it is standard for games to be designed for long-term play." other parts they mention in this too is that they want to essentially make games with long-term sources of revenue, which makes sense in this business model, and player feedback is going to be huge for them. So what do you guys think about Square coming out and basically confirming that they're changing the way that they're making their games now, and how do you feel about it?
This just tells me that they're getting with the picture, they're modernizing like a lot of companies. This can go one of two ways. They can either do it in a way that's respectful, or they can do it in a way that will upset their fan base. Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. It's a fucking great game. The multiplayer is awesome. People love playing it. I like it a lot. But you still have a contingent of people who are like, you guys haven't put anything out in like 5 years since that game came out. So it's kind of mixed. If they're gonna start doing like long haul games, I get it. They're gonna keep people playing it, keep making money off of it. There's a bunch of games doing that. Rainbow Six Siege. So I get it. They have to do what other people are doing. But does their games lend themselves in a way like that? I mean, they primarily make RPGs, games that have a storyline with finite endings, things that just end and you look back and you're like, that was amazing. And there's extra shit to do, whatever. So I hope they don't get too distracted by trying to replicate what other people are doing and stick to what they're good at. So I don't have a strong opinion either way. I just hope that they do it in a way that doesn't change our perspective on the games they make.
I don't know how I feel about this. I kind of know them to be the company to make, really solid RPG games. Like you said, a finite ending to them, a story all the way through. And that's what I love about them. That's why I always play all their Final Fantasy games, because they have a beginning and an end, and I can just enjoy the story and bask in it or replay it over and over again. I don't want to see, Final Fantasy VII having a never-ending story that just keeps going and going and going, and minor updates here and there. I don't want to see that. I mean, it's interesting that, and I guess relevant that they're trying to update how their business model is working, but at the same time, I don't know how they're going to make that work with the style of games they make.
Yeah, I mean, I could also see like Final Fantasy VII is going to come out before this whole new model is
maybe
set in stone. We'll see, but I'm assuming so. But I can see an RPG like that where like you beat the storyline or whatever, and at the end the game is still available and open, and you can maybe like keep leveling in certain areas and
so then it's an MMO.
Go after things, and then maybe still go back to the golden saucer and stuff like that.
It shares the ideals of an MMO for sure, but you have to have multiple mass players for it to be an MMO.
True,
but they showed with their beta for 15 that even during that they were updating it, like you would assume a game is ever expanding online game would do, which was really interesting. So I could maybe see them doing that in their storyline based games, but I just really hope that they don't start designing games where it's like Destiny, essentially. And you're just playing forever, and you got to buy the next thing and the next thing.
So I'm 100% with you on that aspect. I don't want to see that either. And I'm also mixed on this, right? Because obviously I'm with you. I've been playing their games for fucking ever. However, if Final Fantasy 15 is an example of their approach for the future, which I'm going to assume it is, I'm not super worried, because Final Fantasy 15 is a completely competent game, has a full storyline, beginning and ending, and then they're releasing DLCs that essentially are doing what Star Wars is doing with the Star Wars universe, which is adding side bits in to fill in more of the universe. So you got these episodes for all your side characters coming out, and then they have the multiplayer thing, which is a side mode. I mean, other games have done that too. Mass Effect and Dragon Age are great examples, where they have that single player mode with a finite story, and then they have a multiplayer mode that allows for endless play. And if they keep doing stuff like that, I don't really have a problem with it, as long as they continue to make a storyline part, because that's what most of their old fans want, and they can introduce new fans by having multiplayer stuff as well, and maybe they'll get interested in the single player stuff. The only thing I'd like to see them improve on is Final Fantasy 15. Though after beating it, I did enjoy it. The storyline it's okay. Like the ending's cool. The storyline, like the getting there was. Pacing's funny, I guess is the best way to put that. But the whole experience was enjoyable for me. So if that's going to be their business model, if to use that particular game example, I have no complaints.
It's interesting you bring up 15, because in that way, it makes sense. And they also have been emphasizing lately that they want to do more open world games like Final Fantasy 15. So it sounds like we're going to get more games like 15 in general.
Yeah. Well, they said they want to listen to player feedback, and if using that game as an example again, which they absolutely did, they made changes after the game launched because people were like, "What's up with Chapter 13?" is a great example, right? People were like, "This is awful," and they're like, "We'll fix it."
Or like in Magic, because you could damage everybody in your party with Magic. They gave out an item that made it so that you couldn't.
If you
do
didn't
that.
want that, you could turn that off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't. They haven't shown me that it's gonna be bad yet. Though I am.
My only problem though
Skeptic.
is another problem that I have is Square Enix is doing something to fix their problem that they had, and I think they've already nailed it. They've been doing a really good job on listening to the community, and a lot of their stuff feels like fan service. 15 not necessarily, but that one was already in development before they created this whole new idea that we're going to start listening to the fans, blah blah blah. So I'd hate to see the rest of their games start being molded by our ideas and lose some of their unique storytelling and creation on put to the side for what's gonna sell better to us. I mean, there's got to be a balance there because obviously we want what we want, but no one told them how to make Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
And it's one of the greatest games ever made.
Right.
So I really hate the idea of stifling the creativity based off of what we want as consumers, because we don't really. I mean, we know there's certain things we want, but like Mass Effect 3, the backlash with that game made the two people who created the whole Mass Effect series, the games that people love, made the two guys who created that leave the industry.
Yeah.
Because that was fucking horrible. That was shitty because now you're never gonna get a Mass Effect like that again. One guy is off making beer and getting fat. I mean, that's his life now. So, not to say that's gonna happen, but like once you start letting us get more, like if this was like a Kickstarter and they're like, we're gonna make the perfect game for you guys, blah blah, that's fine. There's like a contract there. We're working together. I'm giving you money. You're making my game. But Square Enix has a long legacy as a company, and right now everything's fine. But I would hate to see that idea grow into a hopefully they'll like this. What do you guys want?
And I completely agree with that. And I think you said it correct. The best way you put it was a balance.
Yeah.
Because I do want to continue, and I know Chris probably wants the same. But I want to continue getting those, storylines. That's the reason you play most Square Enix games. But more features for a game I'm enjoying playing, I'm not going to bitch about either.
Definitely.
So,
well, I think the way they're doing with 15 is great. I'm just saying that game was made before this thought process.
Yeah.
So I'd hate to see the next one fold too far into what do you guys want?
I wouldn't say I'm worried, but I'm like cautious of that the games might evolve into something kind of like a GTA, where you have the main storyline and then you have this online like free range mode, which again I'm not like completely opposed to, but I'm not like completely for either. It's kind of this weird gray area that I
get a full single player experience though.
Yeah,
it's worth the $60 alone.
I don't know. I don't like change.
It's fair. And that worked great for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Mm-hmm.
It has a great single player, has great multiplayer.
Yeah.
The problem with that though is what people are noticing now is we're not getting Rockstar games as often as we used to though.
Sure. We are getting Red Dead though, so
finally.
Ping pong.
I mean, if you look at the line of Rockstar games, they're releasing a game like every year.
Sure.
And they're all fantastic. And now they decided, or they found out, microtransactions exist, and they just stopped making games. And that's fine because I get it. And Red Dead's coming out; it's gonna be fucking amazing. I would hate to see Square Enix fall into that though. Because I don't know if they can handle it as well as Rockstar.
I agree with that completely, but I also think that we're in a time in gaming where you just have to realize that AAA companies are in it for the money, indie developers are in it for the creativity
and the money.
But they're the ones usually doing all the creative stuff.
Going, why the fuck doesn't this game exist? I'm gonna make it.
So I mean, you're still getting those games. It just might not be by the people you remember them from. So I mean,
yeah,
it's tricky. Just be open minded to play. Smaller developed games, and you'll find the experiences that maybe you didn't even know you wanted. So,
yeah.
Children of Zodiacs. It's good.
Yep. Published by Square, but small team. So.
Yeah. Anything else?
No. Don't fuck it up, please.
Okay, so apparently we are making up for our lack of taste cast this week because we're at 43 minutes already, and it's a long Taste Tuesday.
A lot of opinions
This
tonight.
is actually probably one of my favorite Taste Tuesdays we've done in a long time, though. So yeah, our last bit of news: Left Alive, a Square Enix game, I believe, being published by them, was shown off at TGS. And before we get into the details of what that game is, we're gonna watch a trailer. Watch it with us, of course. So let's get into it. Worth mentioning too that the guy who designed all the characters for Metal Gear Solid is doing the same in this, so it does look very similar. And also, guy from Armored Core 5 is directing the game, so also worth noting.
I love Russian.
That quality, though. There it is.
Said it was on 1080p.
I will lie to you.
Yeah, I hate liars.
Oh, that's weird looking. That was cool looking.
Novoslava.
Not actual gameplay
Not
footage.
actual gameplay footage.
They never do.
Oh, Vonzo.
It does look like a Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah, the guy does a really cool brush style to his drawings that I've always thought was really cool from Metal Gear Solid, and all the characters are like drawn like that in this. When I was on Twitter, I looked down and saw like drawing. I'm like, is there a new Metal Gear Solid game coming out?
It's like if you took Armored Core and Metal Gear Solid just kind of.
Okay, so
That was a weird short trailer.
it's kind of a perfect marriage though, because the guy did character designs for a realistic / sci-fi, mech type game, and now he's doing it again.
Yeah.
So
Well, he must have a very distinct style that he goes for.
Yeah.
For that kind of thing. Yeah, so that was the trailer. Real quick before we talk about it, they said that starting off, Left Alive is a third-person survival action shooter. Sounds familiar. For PS4 and PC, due out in 2018. The game is set in the Front Mission series. Fuck yeah. Taking place between Front Mission 5 and Front Mission Evolved. I'm a huge Front Mission fan. I love Front Mission.
Really?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I never would have guessed.
Left Alive has 3 protagonists, one of which is a woman, and you'll switch between them as the game progresses. You can see 3 protagonists in the artwork below. There's nobody below. There might be. Yeah, right there.
No, right
see,
there.
that's totally Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
I love it though.
I love that art style. Hopefully I'll remember to put a picture somewhere. We also learned that Left Alive's story has one ending, but the final outcome for your character can change depending on the actions you take. Here are some other tidbits. Mainly offline, but there could be online elements. I think it'd be cool if there's like some mech combat online. Getting rid of that. There are Vonzer riding scenes and stealth. Vonzers are the mechs from Mission. The game takes place in Russia. No way. In 21-27. And development is 50% finished. So they're pretty fucking far into the development. What do we think of Left Alive?
I love that they're revisiting Front Mission, because I kind of was worried that it was gone. So that's cool. I also love that they got this guy on board to do this, because obviously we're not getting Metal Gear anymore, and it would be a shame to see him just kind of disappear from the industry in this industry in that regard. Mech designer from Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, I was gonna read that real quick.
Mobile Suit Gundam 00 and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Well, Shinji Hashimoto, who worked on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, is producing the game. Toshifumi Nabeshima is director of the Armored Core series. He's working on it. And then the person, Takayuki Yanase, worked on the... I don't know how to pronounce Japanese. It's pretty simple. Ghost in the Shell Arise, Mobile Suit Gundam 00, Xenoblade Chronicles X. So we got some really fucking big names and like sci-fi stuff in this game.
I don't know. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm like I said, I'm excited to come back to this universe. I hope that they still make a normal front mission game, but I do like the side story approach, or I guess it's in between games approach. The only concern I have is Square's not really known for shooters.
Yeah.
But other than
Yeah,
that,
and
it looks
anytime
cool.
they have done like shooters are never like that great. I mean, Dirge of Cerberus, I know you liked that game, right? A lot of people didn't like it. I never played it.
He's a fan boy.
Yeah. Probably. That's why it's dressed like this.
My email is usually that character's name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be giving everyone your email.
Yeah, tell them, dude.
It's spelled differently and has different ways of whatnot. Go ahead, spam me out. See what happens. Oh,
You dress for success. I'm really excited for this. There's some really cool names involved with this game. The only thing I'm skeptical on is Square Enix because they don't make games like this. So we'll see how it turns out. But I love the look of the game. I love the idea of the game. I'm so excited to see another fucking front mission game finally, even though it's not traditional. Kind of bums me out they didn't go with the traditional one. I would have liked to see one of those, but maybe they're doing this to test the waters if front mission is viable again. And maybe if this game does well enough, they can actually work on a normal front mission game. But yeah, I'm really excited to revisit that whole world. Really like the design of Vonzers. I like games where you shoot things, so I'm excited for that. And I really like the art style. I think it's really cool looking. I think the trailer's brief, but it got me interested. I want to know more. So I guess that's a good sign. So I'm ready for this game. I'm excited.
I've never played the other front mission games, so this is not something that I have too much of a say on, to be honest.
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. It seems like a very dark game, and not in the sense of like dark, like broody and evil, but like visually, it's very dark looking. And I don't do too well with those kind of games these days. I'm getting a little old for that kind of stuff. I have trouble seeing what's going on. What the fuck is that? Brightness and contrast, all the way up. I don't have much to say, to be honest.
Yeah. Any interest at all? Are you curious?
Oh God, no.
That's fair. So what I got out of that is I'm old. I can't see very well. I'm getting my eyes are going, and I have no interest in this newfangled shit. Never played the old ones. Don't need the new ones.
I mean, I like Armored Core, but that's a different gameplay. It's
When you like Final Fantasy Tactics, which is what front mission was in gameplay originally. So.
okay,
Yeah,
but
the
this
tactical
seems more of
games.
like a Metal Gear Solid type game.
Oh no, this is a shooter for sure.
Well, and if you notice in the title, it doesn't say front mission, so they're very much like we're going to use the universe and stuff like that as inspiration, but this is not.
When they
front
first
mission
announced the game, there was no fucking news about it being a front
Yeah.
mission game. I was following that game for a couple days because I was like, oh
So
shit, the guy from Metal Gear Solid worked on it.
It literally is like Dirge of Cerberus
Yeah.
for front mission.
Kinda.
It's just an off-spin
That's
game.
the
It's
only thing that
different.
worries me is because in the past they've done these off-shoot games that are simplistic. For people who like shooters, they're not good enough, and for people who like RPGs, they don't really want to play that. So it's kind of a weird area for them to. Yeah. So they got to really nail the action and shooting because people like me aren't going to enjoy it if it's like minimal. Like it's really stiff and you're just like locking on to people and shooting them. That's not really interesting for people like me. And then people who play RPGs, they don't really want to shoot shit. So they got to find a middle ground where they can make a really interesting storyline, have cool RPG elements, and make sure the fucking shooting's tight. Because that's one thing that a lot of Japanese games in general don't nail as well as like a lot of Western games.
Yeah, I think on paper this sounds absolutely awesome. I want to keep my eye on it and just kind of see where it goes. I hope it does well though, because right now it seems like Square's getting comfortable with experimenting again, and
Which is awesome.
I would love to see that continue. So.
Yeah, if anything, that's a great point because I've been kind of concerned. I'm like they came back, they're doing good, blah blah blah. But I'd like
doing
to see something
HD
new.
remakes.
I'd like and they're making a lot of games that are fun and fluffy and give you a bunch of stuff you remember from older Final Fantasies. And I'm like, and here's a new game, and it's bringing back an old series that I love. So I just hope it works out really well. Any last words?
You're fired.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Tasty Tuesday cast. A very long episode. The longest Tasty Tuesday ever. Let us know in the comments what you think about Left Alive. What do you think about PUBG versus Fortnite? You think they handled it well? Do you think they got a case? Do you think Fortnite is doing it okay? And toxic Overwatch. Let us know about that because I'm really curious about that. It's kind of a polarizing topic. But yeah, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr and Twitter, Tasty Gaming. Check out the streams on the channel. If you missed them, they're uploaded. Check them out on Twitch, Tasty_Fruit. And my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And until this Friday for Plus Club, make sure to play Strike Vector X and Infamous Second Son. And yeah, until then, have a good week, guys, and take it easy.